Welcome back to the channel, I'm Derek, and today we are going into the first video of a new launch series. Now I'll be introducing you to this new project in District 5, Blossoms by the Park, as well as the Hill at One North. For this video, I'll be focusing the discussion around Blossoms by the Park. Of course, some of the information will be very relevant to the Hill at One North as well. The reason why I'm doing Blossoms by the Park first is because it's going to be the one that will be launched soon. So some quick facts and figures about this new development. It is a 99-year leasehold development. It has 275 units in total. It ranges from 1 beta all the way to a 4 beta penthouse. The estimate TOP will be in Q4 2026. It is developed by EL Development and it is located at Slim Barracks Rise, or 2 minutes walk away from Buona Vista MRT station exit. Let's go into the site analysis of this project, as well as its vicinity and what you can expect when you buy into this project. So for Blossoms by the Park, it takes up Site A of Slim Barracks Rise, and there will be also commercial units on the first level as well. Site area is 7,957 meters square with a tender price of $320 million, which works out to be around $1,246 per square foot. So on the map here, we can see that Slim Barracks is only a 14-minute drive away to Orchard via Holland Road, and it is 11 minutes drive to the CBD via the AYE. And if you were to take the public transport down to the Orchard area, it takes around 6 MRT stops, and for you to go to the CBD is around 7 MRT stops away. So now moving on into more about the One North region. So it is one of the regions in Singapore that is leading in terms of global knowledge with over 200 hectares of space. It is a vibrant research and business park, which is home to some of the leading players and rising startups from knowledge sectors such as biomedical, tech industry, media, as well as engineering. So who are the players at One North right now? Here are some of them. We have Procter & Gamble, we have MediaCorp, we have 99.co, and many more. So what else is there in the vicinity of Blossoms by the Park? There's plenty of shopping malls such as Star Vista, Rochester Mall, and there are many other stores located right at Fusionopolis and Metropolis. And right around the corner, there's Timber Plus near One North. If you were there in the vicinity, you should head down to the Zi Cha store. I recommend that you try their salted egg chicken rice. I think there's no question mark around the education institutions around the whole Buona Vista area. Practically meant for you to set up a family there from child all the way until they're an adult, because there's plenty of education institutions all around the area that you really can get covered from your primary school education all the way until even when you're a graduate. Just to name a few, there's Fairfield Methodist Primary and Secondary School, Nanhua High School, NUS High, Newtown Secondary, ACSI, ACJC, Singapore Poly, Ngee Poly, NUS, as well as many more other schools in the vicinity. I think that there's no worry for you if you are looking to set up a family here, for the education system and the education supply here is more than enough. Now I'll be moving on into some of the potential upsides that you can have buying into this launch. So the first upside that I would presume would be the upcoming development in the whole entire area or within its vicinity. The first one namely being the Great Southern Waterfront. 9,000 homes will be built with plans for even more office hubs and office spaces. This means that there will be more job opportunities within the area, and it offers a waterfront living with green spaces set aside as well as open land. So in terms of this entire Great Southern Waterfront, with more job opportunities, it would equate to more expats. It can also equate to more people rushing into buying into this entire region. It would naturally boost either the rental rates in your area or the capital gains that you can get when you sell your house in the subsequent future. Second one would be the Dover Knowledge District, which is an extension of One North. It has the synergies of a business park, academic and research institution. It offers a vibrant integrated space to create new jobs as well as learning opportunities, and this would support Singapore's economic growth in the long term. So with that being said, you have a lot of synergy in terms of economic and education within the region itself. And the last one being the Rail Corridor, which is a 24 km stretch of the former railway line stretching from the north to the south of Singapore, and it connects the major green spaces within the area and forest habitats such as Bukit Timah Nature Reserve as well as Dairy Farm Nature Park. Essentially, there's a large and green nature environment serving as a recreation corridor for you and your family. So the second factor that I would say that contributes to the upsides of this project would be due to the limited supply in District 5. So you can see this diagram, there's very limited upcoming new launches within the area, and some of them might have already been launched at the time of posting of this video. So with a limited upcoming supply within the area, there will be a high demand in rental, which in turn it can drive up the prices for rental within this area. So then you might ask, why would there be demand and where would the tenants all come from, right? So basically there's a huge potential pool of tenants just from One North itself, with over 500,000 professionals, a pool of potential undergraduate students from NUS, SIT, SIM, over 12,000 people from various sectors such as science and technology that are coming from Science Park 1 and 2. And I would say that the profile of such tenants would be people like students, working professional, engineers, analysts, researchers, as well as even the professors. If we were to look at some of the past transactions within the One North area in terms of the rental rates, we are looking at about 4,300 for 1 beta, 6,500 for 2 beta, and 7,000 for a 3 beta. And if we look at Rochester Residences rental volumes as well as the rental rates, we are hitting almost 5,000 for 1 beta, 7,000 for a 2 beta, and up to 9,000 for a 3 beta. Tenants are willing to pay high rental fees just to stay within this area. So what other factors can affect the rental rate, you might ask? Blossoms by the Park being over 200 plus meters away from Buona Vista MRT station exit, it is roughly a 2 minutes walk away. And if we were to compare it with the other developments within its vicinity, Blossoms by the Park is one that is conveniently located to the MRT interchange. Namely being the other condos that are within the 500 meters of the MRT station would be Rochester Residences and One North Residences. And those that are between 501 meters to 1 km would be Dover Park View as well as Heritage View. And why is this important, you might ask, is because the 3-year rental transactions are experiencing a higher rental volume. So if you can see the chart on the screen, there's 1,139 contracts that are formed for those that are within 500 meters from Buona Vista MRT station, and there's only 1,077 contracts for those that are further out from Buona Vista MRT station. So that's pretty much all for rental rates and as well as how the rental upsides are like. Moving on to the upside potential for capital gains. Let's look into some of the facts and figures with these numbers from URA transactions, based on the calculation of the average PSF across the years to derive such numbers. Within the RCR region itself, we are looking at a 204% growth over a stretch of 15 years. And more specifically in District 5, over a span of 15 years, you're looking at 299% growth. And even if you were to look in the short term, we are still looking at least 25% growth over a span of 5 years. For me personally, I would recommend to look at high long-term growth with healthy returns on the investment, because you would want to have a property that serves as a good residential as well as an investment property. So you want to have the best of both worlds, and I believe that Blossoms by the Park would be one that can meet both of these needs. So of course, speaking about so many upsides, there will definitely be some downsides or concerns that people might have when they are looking to buy into a new launch project in this current market. And in order to address some of it, the first one would be the rising interest rates. Higher interest rate does not mean that home prices will fall. When SORA rose in 2017 to 2019, home prices continued to rise, and so high interest rate does not always necessarily mean that the home prices will fall. And based on a Straits Times article quoting MAS, the mortgage debt is manageable by most households, with healthy growth in household income over the years, with over 35.3% growth in the median residential employed household income. So even with the rising interest rates, it is still a possible thing to be able to afford for Blossoms by the Park and be able to capture the potential gains from this project. So let's quote an example for your visualization. So the scenario here is buying a new launch condo for $1.2 million. So the maximum loan that can be borrowed would be $900,000 from the bank with a 30-year loan tenor. And what would be the total mortgage? So previously with the fixed rate, a loan tenor of 30 years and annual interest stands at 2.75%. It would translate to a monthly payment of $3,674. And in today's market, assuming that everything else is the same, with a fixed rate at 4.25%, it increases the monthly payment to $4,427, which is an increase by 20.5% or an increase by $753. And using a floating rate of 3-month compounded SORA plus 1% is at 3.924%, and with a monthly payment of $4,257, translating to a 15.9% increase or a $583 increase in the monthly payment. Based on such figures and bringing back the growth of household income by 35.3%, we see that that even with the increase in mortgage payment, the increase in household income would outweigh that of the mortgage payments. And we can see that the mortgage payment is still relatively within the reasonable stage to allow the properties to be affordable in today's market. The next concern will be on the inflation. So inflation is expected to be as high as 5.2% in 2023, and based on our economist forecast as seen on Straits Times, inflation would mean the erosion of the dollar value, and we can see it all around us. How much has the prices of groceries grown over the last year? I think it's quite crazy, right? So the next question is, how good is having a property as a good hedge against inflation? So the thing is, for the private property price index, it has grown faster than the consumer price index over the past 15 years. And this shows that over a long stretch of time, having a real estate property proves to be a good hedge against inflation, primarily because of its stability as a tangible asset. The next concern will be in terms of the economic uncertainty within today's market. I think this is not uncommon. There is the possibility of recession, coupled with the recent tech layoffs. There's a level of uncertainty there for many people. So what is the possibility of Singapore falling into full-scale recession then? So a full-scale recession is defined as 4 consecutive quarters of contraction. So that means even with slow growth in Singapore, it does not equate to a recession. MTI and IMF has forecasted that Singapore's growth might slow down, but it will still remain in the positive zone. So why is that? There is the resilient travel sector and tourism sector, and since first half of 2022, there has been 1.5 million visitors, and this has increased nearly 12 times compared to the past year. This signals a strong pent-up demand, as Singapore remains as one of the top choices for tourists as well as business travelers. So Singapore is expecting many visitors from neighboring countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, as well as India. This causes our economy to go up from all these foreign direct investments, creating a lot more rental demand as well as private property demand. And on the second point of the layoffs, despite that, Singapore's job sector still remains robust. The retrenchment figures in the tech sector over the last 5 years still remains on the low side, and there is a high proportion of these individuals finding a new job within 6 months of unemployment. So there's a strong supportive capacity across the larger economy for these affected workers. And based on my understanding, most of these layoffs are due to the internal restructuring, and it is not because that they are unable to afford or pay for these employees, but they are trying to restructure the company to become more streamlined. And for most of these employees, having the skill sets that they have in these tech firms, they can easily find a place and a role in another company without much worries, and I believe that they can easily do it within 6 months. So thus, despite all this uncertainty, it is not something that is sustained in the long term. And when we look further down the line, when we purchase into a real estate property, we always want to look long term. I believe that over a stretch of a long period of time, all this uncertainty will not be as scary as it seems to be right now. So basically, here is the analysis of Blossoms by the Park as a whole, in terms of its site analysis, the One North region, what's surrounding the whole entire area, the potential that you can have investing into a project as such, with healthy capital appreciation and healthy rental volume as an investment, as well as some concerns of today's market and going in at this timing, and how can you navigate through these uncertain times. I hope that this video has covered most of what you might be thinking about whether or not to buy into Blossoms by the Park, and I hope that this video has clarified some of your doubts on today's market as well. If you like this video and what I've covered today, do drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more of such content, drop down in the comments what are some of the things that you might want to see in subsequent videos, or what are some of the other projects that you want a full analysis on, or maybe even what are some of the other analysis that I've missed out on this project that you might want to know more about, that I can cover in maybe a part 2 series of this video. And if you have any friends or family that is looking to purchase a private property in District 5, Blossoms by the Park is definitely one of the projects that they cannot miss out on. So do share this video with them so that they can have a better understanding of the entire area and what are some of the things that they should know before they go into purchasing this new launch. And one thing to note for those who are interested to view the show flat for Blossoms by the Park, it is going by appointment basis only. No walk-ins will be entertained post preview date. So if you are interested to visit the show flat on the preview date, I'll drop a link down in the description below so that you can secure an appointment, and that will allow you to be able to go into the show flat on the preview date itself. So I hope that this video has been helpful for you so far. Once again, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.